I think one of the reasons why Fuentes has gained so much steam over the years is because there's just like blatant hypocrisies that are happening among all of these people, and like clear lies. Like if you just like, and you just look at it, like basic things that are said about very specific topics, like, okay, they're clearly lying. But like, it's the same thing where like Dave Rubin did come to prominence kind of being the I'm classical liberal, libertarian, flirting with anarcho-capitalism, going on tour with Jordan Peterson, everybody deserves free speech, all that stuff. Come debate us, that type of thing. That was like his whole, I'm doing college tours, doing that stuff. And then once all this and then over time, and his show kind of started to fall down quite a bit. And then he was out like calling people's employers about their anti-Semitism and stuff like that. Like, you're just like, what happened to free speech, Dave?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think
it's like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's exposed a hypocrisy on the right that has made the space for Fuentes. If they had been better, I don't think he would have nearly the room that he does and nearly the audience he does if these guys had been better and actually true to their principles. If they had been principled, these things wouldn't be what they are. But there is a contradiction that has to be worked out. In the Hegelian sense, there's a thesis and an antithesis here, and there's like this giant contradiction that's just embedded in everything that has to get worked out through dialogue. And I think that's why Fuentes should be talked to, put onto platforms, and talked about and contended with, because there's no other way to really do this other than that, right? The only way to sort that out, the only way for him to actually get exposed to the rest of the world is for the rest of the world to experience him. And therefore to contend with his ideas and decide whether they're good or not. The whole like gatekeeping thing, and this is from that same Pierce Morgan interview, Dave Smith and that guy from the Babylon Bee. There's this contradiction that they're like gatekeeping is good from these folks. That gatekeeping is good, and then anytime you challenge them, I'm like, well, I thought we were for free speech. Like, no. What I mean is the gatekeeping where you have them on the podcast and you make sure you crush them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's you can only have him on the podcast as long as you do it right. Do it the way that he would do it. And that's this weird thing. Like you care more about the ends than the means, right? You don't care about how we get there. And I really care about how we get there. How we get there is by discourse and calling out, especially the very worst behavior, which is, I totally agree with Fuentes on this. I think it's disgusting to stand on someone's grave like that and speak for him. I think it's really wrong.
Well, and also just maybe a final thought. It's interesting just when you hear him talk about his origin story and how he was very clearly like identified by the conservative, broadly speaking, like conservative media class, identified, and they were like, we're going to keep an eye on this kid, try to foster him a little bit. And then he like asked one or two questions about a very specific topic, and then all of a sudden like, no, we have to crush this kid now, and everything just like flipped on a dime like that.
He's a knower.
He's a knower. Like that in itself too is interesting, because like it shows that in a sense the gatekeeping mechanism was there. One, the identification mechanism of like these people are talking about identifying people to foster for the movement kind of in the future, but then also like watching them, oh, they're a little off.
Yeah.
Sweep them out.
Right.
Let them be canceled. Turn a blind eye to the cancellations.
Well, and the fact that mechanism exists, and that we've revealed so much about how AstroTurf, so much of the influencer class is a big part of the current moment.
There's lists. Like there's lists of people.
Yeah,
I've seen the lists of people because I've worked in organizations.
But it's like Gamergate, right? It's like the same phenomena where like there's this class of gaming journalists who all know each other, who all they coordinate on how they're going to cover and punish studios who don't give access the right way and all that kind of stuff in order to prop up, perhaps art that isn't deserving of that, right? Same thing here. Propping up political argumentation on behalf of powerful foreign governments is a real challenge to our discourse that has to be confronted, and they've refused to do so, and it's exposing a money lie that is necessary.